would love it here.
So you'd be more of a homeboy.
I would be more of a homeboy.
I think actually many people in the coffee industry, many baristas should actually think that way, because people always think, you know, the grass is greener on the other side. And when you reach the other side, they have burnt all the grass.
Yes, I mean, if you go abroad, we're speaking about the US, UAE, Italy, Norway, all those drinking countries, they have greener pastures. You're going to get dying, I mean money, you know. But the fact is, how are you going to get that money? First of all, you have to consider things like you're living alone, your family, you're living alone, things that matter to you a lot, you're just giving them up. I'm sure Dave, if he was to be honest with us, it was a difficult situation that took him there.
It was actually, that is one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make in life.
Do you regret it?
Yes. Well, I don't think I really regret it. I don't really regret it. Well, the reason I would give as to why I don't regret is that, well, much as I left my family back home, but it gave me, you know, another picture, you know, of how to relate with people. Because, man, the other countries are very different. The people there are different. Everything is different. The culture, food, everything, totally different from here.
I never heard you tell us about your basis of getting this knowledge, you know, like did you go to a certain school? I mean, where did you get this skill? Because to my knowledge, I think for you to be taken as someone who knows something, to say that maybe let's get Derek to Kuwait, must have shown something, must have that valuable thing.
He had offers.
Yes, offers were very many. So where did you go? What I mean?
Well, before I was having a little conversation with my friend Emma here, and this is one of the questions he was asking. Well, I think, just like I explained before, it started with passion and then the love, you know, that I had for coffee, seeing these people, you know, putting nice cups, and then people telling me about coffee, what it's nice. So I wanted to try it out. But the main thing I think was, actually, I'm just seated to the main man here. This guy was calling you a coffee messiah, and he didn't lie about that. Yes.
You guys are going to.
So I joined a company that I won't mention a name. So I was working as a barman, yes, and then also dabbling as a barista. But the coffees that were made there were really mild. It wasn't that too much, because it was just a restaurant and then a backpacker, actually. So the coffee was for the breakfast for guests. But I mean, I loved, you know, I don't know how and why, but I just loved, you know, operating that coffee machine more than, you know, mixing cocktails and then seeing people fall. So it was very nice.
So can we say that your inspiration was a coffee machine to join coffee?
Well, it wasn't a coffee machine, but I think the main thing was, you know, just like I said earlier on, was, you know, how people, the picture, you know, people used to paint, you know, about coffee. It really drove me very much. Like it I don't know, there is just that, you know, that passion and that love it created in me. And then I just wanted to, you know, to try and well, see how
finally got it.
Yeah, how it is like. And man, trust me, with that passion and the love, I came to, I joined another company. So from there, from the other company, I joined another one, and then this is where I met, you know, a lot of coffee messiahs, including me himself. And and I just loved how, you know, how he was, you know, handling himself, you know, with that cup of coffee, and then, you know, relating to people, talking to, you know, different people with different, you know, cultures, but then you could see that they were blending because of that, you know, that love thing that I explained before. Excuse me, that coffee, you know, creates in you. So that also, you know, gave me a hype. I was like, oh man, I think I like what this guy does, because I joined as a waiter. Yes, I joined as a waiter, but I had, because of this too much passion that I had for it, and then seeing my main guy here, you know, decorating all those nice cups, I was like, okay, I think I need to give it a try.
That was quite a transition, from being a barman to a waiter, then to a barista. That's quite a profile.
Yeah, it's a very good profile.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, fast forwarding now, you've made your decision, okay? You've chosen Kuwait out of all the other options you had.
Yes.
Just run us through your first week or your first month in Kuwait, because I believe that must have been a cultural shock. You know, jumping from Uganda all the way to Kuwait. Okay, you're used to working in, let's say, the coffee shops here, and now I believe it's more commercialized in Kuwait, I believe. Okay, and you have to get into that environment. Okay, how was that first experience for you in Kuwait?
It was a nightmare. Allow me, if I could say. Well, it was something tough. It was something tough to do, because basically everything was new. I was just, you know, getting. It is like introducing new food to, you know, to a toddler. It is very difficult. So you have a lot of work to do. You know, a lot to do with, you know, learning how to talk to those people. You know, learning how to relate with them, because yes, we are one people. Yes, but we have different cultures. Remember, so the other guys have their own cultures. That, you know, we do not have here in Uganda, and we don't even never think they will ever come here. You know, it's things to do like I want well, a hot and then iced espresso. That was I was very confused. I was very confused on hot and cold
espresso.
But then, yes, that is what he wanted. It was really very hard for me. And then the other thing also is, I think I'll talk about the weather. Yes, it was really, really very, very tough. Because I think I got there in March, and usually March 2019. So usually, during that month, the winter is still on, and if it's cold, the other side, it is really cold. If it's hot, it is extremely hot. So there is nothing that you wish, you know,
to have.
Let it come. I want to have winter or summer. It is very difficult. And then the other thing also is, I think about food. Yes, it took me some time to get used, you know, to the food the other side, because most of the foods there are not really fresh, as you know, it is a desert country. So everything, like most of the foods, are actually packed. So you have to get used to, you know, to those. That's a very it's a weird experience, because I know going out of the country and, you know, trying to get into a new culture is a very hard thing. But I'll throw this to you. You are a barista, and before you became what you are now, I believe that you had
What am I now? I was a barista.
You're Messiah.
Now you're Messiah, senior one.
Acquired another title.
Yeah, well, I believe that you also had your first experience, not really out of Uganda, since you want to stay here, in a coffee shop. Okay, how was that first experience for you? Was it a nightmare, or for it was like, man, this is just something I do on a daily?
Man, the first experience, when I remember that day. It was a Saturday. I can't remember. I can't forget that day. So all these guys got sick. I was just training on station. You know, when you're done with school, the barista school, it's not like having that real experience of handling maybe a shift or a station at work. So unfortunately, all these guys got sick. So I was the only guy who was there to run that station. My bosses were like, you know what? We have no option. And those days, Saturdays, we were busy at work. Oh my God. So you'd get orders come through. Morning, I mean, people taking coffee in the morning, lining up on your counter. I'm like, now I'm dead. So I get to work. The first order I got that morning was a cappuccino shake. I'm like, how am I going to do this? How can a cappuccino be a shake? So I had to ask servers around. You know, that's one thing, by the way, about being a barista. You have to accept that maybe something that I don't know, someone knows it, so you have to seek out for help. Because these people are working with you, and they know some things. Given the fact that they go to clients, take orders, they explain to you the orders. Yeah. So they might not be knowing them like practically, but at least they have an idea. So as a person, if they give you an idea, you know how you can play around with it. So with my customer experience, the guy asked for a cappuccino shake. I don't know what I can put in a cappuccino shake until I called my head barista that day. After like 20 minutes of struggling, my friend, shaking. So the head barista told me, no, a cappuccino shake is just simple. Just get ice cream, get your espresso, blend, and that's a cappuccino shake. Just the name confused me totally. So that was my worst experience during my first days as a barista.
There's a saying that, we learn through going through times that are hard. Yeah. Okay, everyone has that time when they throw you to swim with the sharks, and for you it was everyone got sick and they threw you in the deep end and said and swim. And for Derek it was more of like a culture shock. You get to Kuwait and you're looking at everything and you're like, okay, God, I asked you to bring me here and this is what it is. But we basically learned through those experiences. Now Derek, let's keep talking about Kuwait. Okay, yes. You've gotten there. Your first week and your first month have been hell for you. Okay, but now you're starting to get into the vibe of things. Yes. Communicating with your workmates, with the different people, and a country like Kuwait, there's always going to be a language barrier. True. Okay, it's not like Uganda here where you can switch between Luganda, English, any other language you can switch here and there, but how did you manage, with not only the cultural shock, but also now the language barrier? Because as a barista, your job is not only to make coffee.
True.
You have a job to have that interpersonal relationship, basically, with different people. Okay, so how did you handle?
Well, at first it was hard for me.
Yeah.
It was really hard because I didn't have any word. It was a tough one. But with time, because those people, when they're talking, you could actually think they're angry, they're off or something like that. So it was really very hard for me.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I started, understanding them. Or when he says, this, so he means he wants to get this.
Yeah.
So slowly, not like speaking, but like, getting to know what they want. And then, there are common words that, just like you walk in a cafe here in Uganda and you're like, hey, give me a coffee, give me a latte, cappuccino, espresso. So it is like, the conversation is, a little bit direct and also minimized, on my side because I didn't know a lot of Arabic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like how you brought in the aspect of, there are certain keywords that you need to speak when you go to a coffee shop, whether you're speaking what language, there are these keywords. So, as we have two baristas here, okay, let's say I'm a newbie, I've entered a coffee shop for the first time in my life, okay, I'm looking at the menu and it's like reading French, I really don't understand what's on the menu. What are some of these keywords that people should know when they enter a coffee shop?
In Arabic?
No.
I mean, it should like learn different languages and ways of like asking for coffee in a coffee shop.
Oh, so sure. I mean, if you can say it in Arabic, hey, well and good.
I want to know how to ask for coffee.
I know where you're going. So well, it is really when you want to say I want a cappuccino, you say Atna cappuccino. Give me Atna. Wahad. So Wahad stands for one. So Atna Wahad cappuccino. Like give me one cappuccino. Just like that.
I know that.
Atna.
When you said that, I could see his countenance just dropped. He's like, I don't think I'm going to Kuwait anytime soon. Yeah, but still, on the same topic, like I said, I enter, let's say, Endiro for the first time, okay? What are some of these keywords that, for example, if I don't know what a latte is, I don't know what a cappuccino is, I don't know what a French press is, and a barista is saying, do you want a French press, or do you want this kind of press? What are some of these keywords that you can help our viewers with to know from the both of you?
Well, to me in Uganda right here, actually not even in Uganda, like generally, globally, there are words that you use to ask for a drink when you access the bar station or any barista station. Simple words. You have to be polite. May I please? Can I please? So you have to be down so that the person you're asking for to give you that drink at least feels more respected, and when they feel more respected, they're going to carry that respect to that cup. And once you're enjoying that cup. So for example, if you come to my station and you, may I please get a double cappuccino to go or to dine in? You know, you see how they have constructed that statement compared to, hey, get me a double cappuccino to go. You get that vibe. So even me as a barista, I will feel disrespect. Yes, I'll make it because that's my job. But the way I make the other cup of coffee, whereby someone is a bit polite, is using those keywords, may I please, can I please, get this to go, you know. And also there are those clients that come when they don't know what to say. They know what to have. Maybe they need an Americano or a house coffee or a French press or an AeroPress, but they don't know how to ask for it. So for example, someone might be wanting a house coffee, you know, and they're like, can I please get a single Americano to go or to dine in? Definitely you as a barista, you know that this client doesn't need an Americano, but they need maybe a regular coffee, which is a bit mild, which will be taken as a house coffee. That's why you call it a house coffee. I mean, we've mentioned it before on the show, because it's mild and it's made in most of the homes, so that's why it came up with the name house coffee. So the moment that client asks that, you don't need to belittle them, you just have to understand what they want and you give it to them, because they used a certain word or a certain keyword that you as a person understands, but for them they don't understand. So if you want to take an initiative, politely, you just have to inform them that, okay, this is a house coffee, it's not an Americano. So maybe if they're mistaken, they need an Americano, then they will explain to you, no, I need more strong, I need it more strong. So you get to understand them. So that's the conversation you have to keep on having, so that you can understand those keywords in a coffee shop.
All right. Derek, before we go for a break, what are some of those types of coffee, that I, as a beginner, should ask for? You know, there are different types. There's a strong, you know, there's a mild. So if I enter on and I want to have a good experience, what's the first that I should ask for?
Well, I think a house coffee will do. Because just like you mentioned, it's a very mild coffee. So it doesn't like it doesn't have a lot of caffeine in there. So yeah, it's a good one for everybody.
Speaking of caffeine, I think we have a myth, but we're going to go to that after the break. You're watching the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. In the studio with me, the Coffee Messiah, Amon, and Derek Waititi, who came all the way from Kuwait. We'll be having more on the show, so just take some time, get a cup of coffee, and we will be right back. This is House of Talent Television, the Coffee Break Show.
Isma is fixing audio here. Isma is still fixing audio.
Welcome back to the coffee break. We hope you have gotten your cup of coffee. And still speaking about coffee, we're getting into the part of the show where we teach you guys how to make a good cup of coffee. Okay, and this is a tutorial all the way from Kuwait. We have had the Coffee Messiah giving us the Uganda tutorial, but we're getting into a tutorial from Kuwait. So I'll hand it over to Derek to take us to what kind of coffee are we making here right now?
Well, I'm gonna make a French press.
Okay.
It is actually one of my favorite. Yes, and yeah, I think.
Yeah, if you could just walk us through, because I know there's someone there at their home who has their, French press. They have their kettle ready. They have their cup. So just walk us through, from where do we start until we get it into the cup.
Well, of course, the very first thing is you're going to need coffee. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, which I think we have here.
Which I think we have. Yeah. Good enough. So, and then you're going to need your French press. Yeah. Maker. Okay. The coffee itself. I prefer using about 25 grams of coffee, and then about 400, 12 ounces of water, or 400 grams of water, if you can call it. Okay. Yeah. So you also need hot water. Yes, really hot. I like, making it hot first, because that will really keep my my coffee. It will keep it hot just a little bit. It doesn't really have to. It doesn't have to be that hot. And then I will also heat my cup. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be
that much.
Yeah, that much. So well.
So is it necessary for someone to have like a scale to really measure?
Well, it is not really that necessary. Yeah. It depends on how you want it. Yes, because I mean, the more the grams of the coffee, the more
water you
stronger it will be. And then also the less the coffee, that means you're going to have a mild one. Okay. Yeah. So I would prefer, if you like, you can use it. If you are really that kind of person who wants to, to have your
something
coffee,
precise,
yes, in a specific way. So it is, it's a good way to go. But it doesn't really. I mean, you can make it at home without, without a scale. It's very fine. Yeah, and also, I mean, it doesn't really. You don't really need a scale that much, but for the business and then in the cafes and then for those people, just like I said, that that want their coffee in a specific way. Yeah, so you really would need it in a coffee, but at home, I don't really think you need it that much. Yeah. So I'll take. So we'll use, this is a coffee. I'll go for, it's like I said, I think I'll go for 25 grams of that.
Yeah. I think Amon is watching and wishing.
I'm learning, my friend.
And waiting, honestly, for the cup of coffee to come out.
This one is a coffee messiah. You can't be a messiah and then
one thing about coffee is
you think of learning something else.
You can never stop learning.
You can never stop learning. That's very true.
Yeah, by the way, that is very true.
Yeah. I've actually learned the last time we made a coffee here, we did heat up the press first. But the first thing we did was put some hot water in it and heat it up. Then heated up the cup. So there's always something new to learn. Yeah.
Okay. So why are you doing that?
So I'm doing this because I must have a specific time for my coffee. Okay. Yes. And that also gives me a good taste.
Now, why do you like point that circular kind of
motion?
That's what.
Well, I'm doing this because I need to, I need all my coffee. I need the coffee, the whole coffee in there to, to brew.
Yeah.
Yes, because if I pour in, some other parts, then I leave others. That means I won't have a balance.
Yeah.
There's something that's called the body of the coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, that is, you could talk of, you could term it as the thickness.
Yeah.
Yes, in a simple language for someone out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I need it to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for all our viewers out there, you see the kind of way that he pours the water into the press. It's in a swirly motion, basically. So don't just get your water and pour it there, because you won't really get the best out of the coffee. So there is a way that it should be done.
Okay. So how long does that process take? I mean, from getting your coffee, from maybe a pack of coffee, to measuring, to pouring in water, how long does it have to take for you to get your final cup of coffee?
It will take you about 3 minutes to get a perfect one. Yes.
So this is really something good, like in the morning when I'm, running to work and I don't want to take a lot of time.
Very true.
Making a very serious coffee. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to,
stir it.
Yeah, stir it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like I said before, just to make sure that it is well brewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll continue with.
So does that amount of water, the ratios of water to coffee affect the taste of coffee?
Yes.
On this exact French press? Or in any other coffee you're making?
Absolutely, it does.
Because now you used 25 grams of coffee?
Yes, I did.
So how much of water do I have to put in that?
Just like I said, it really depends on how you want it.
Okay.
You want it strong or
mild.
You want it mild.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think the ratio really depends on how strong you want it and how weak you want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait to have this.
It already looks like a very good cup of coffee.
So
yeah, but
I'm done with this.
Okay.
So what I will do is take off, my coffee.
So we realize that at the bottom of this you have a filter.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I don't have a filter per se, is there any other? Is there anything else that I can use?
Yes, there is something you can use. I think there is you can use a local sieve.
Okay.
The use of the filter on top here is basically to filter, because this is a medium cost coffee.
Yeah.
So it's meaning it has bigger particles, and then we don't want to have them in our coffee.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is why.
Okay.
So you have to gently do it.
Yeah.
Yes. I love doing it gradually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that also improves on the taste of my coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you said, it's an art.
Yes.
There's a kind of gentleness that you have to do it with. I think it's almost the same thing as cooking. The attitude that you bring towards making the coffee, I think, in a way infuses with the coffee. Because if I was angry that morning and made, a cup of coffee, I think that the one I serve it to can actually taste, that kind of attitude that I had while making it. So it's a peaceful process. It's something out of passion and love that really has to go into the coffee.
Yeah, maybe as also Derek is getting ready to serve us with this coffee. You spoke about the coffee myth before we went for a break.
Yeah, I was actually going to get into that. So, like, we have different types of coffee, okay? So people say, okay, this type has caffeine, this type does not have caffeine. The doctor said I take this type. So the myth I talk about today is decaf, okay? People say that decaf has or does not have caffeine, okay? What is your perspective on this? So we need to bust this myth and know whether it has or it does not have what? Caffeine. And if it does, how much caffeine does it have in relation to other kinds of coffee anyways?
Okay, do I go first or you go first?
You can go first.
Okay.
I think the Messiah.
Well, I think that's a myth. Because someone coming out and say that I'm taking decaf because it has no caffeine is totally not true.
Yeah.
Because the process of decaffeinating this coffee is like 97% accurate to remove that caffeine, which means you have around 3% of that caffeine. So if you're like taking 8 or 5 to 10 cups of coffee of decaf, that's when you feel the caffeine.
Yeah.
Which means I have to take like 5 or 6, 7, 8 cups a day for me, my body to start feeling that caffeine, compared to taking an 8-ounce cup of coffee, which is caffeinated.
Yeah.
So that's when I will feel the caffeine compared to taking the other decaffeinated coffee. Because most people go to coffee shops and ask, I need decaf because it has no caffeine.
Yeah.
No, that's a myth that we need to debunk from here on the coffee break.
Okay, so
yeah, some decaf has some little caffeine in it, but for you to feel that caffeine, you have to take like 5 to 10 cups of coffee a day. And who takes those cups?
I know you take that much coffee in a day. So Derek, do you have the same perspective as him, or there's something different?
Yeah, I think I won't sound very different from what he mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
In most cases, actually, most people think ordering for a decaf, you know, I'm going to have my sleep. I'm not going to lose my sleep.
Yeah.
But yes, you will lose some of it. Yes. Well, not everyone that takes coffee loses their sleep. But you know, just saying, there is caffeine in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a myth that we have debunked.
Yeah.
There is a certain percentage of caffeine in
decaf.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. As Derek serves us the long-awaited coffee, I know the Messiah can't wait to have it. But we're going to get into our main topic of the day. Basically, Amon has been a barista in Uganda for a while now. You've been a barista in Uganda, and you've been a barista in Kuwait. Okay, and I believe that the two places are really different when it comes to coffee culture, when it comes to commercialization, and all these things. And picking from your experience, okay, what are they doing in Kuwait when it comes to the coffee industry that we are not doing in Uganda? And what are some of these strategies that we can actually pick up from them that will improve our coffee industry here? Yeah.
It is business. To be straight to the point, I think in the other side, it is basically about business. Yes, even down here. I mean, of course, the main point of someone making a business is, you know, to generate some income. Yes, but I think the main point, the other side, you know, of cafes, is making money. So that kind of like, you know, shifts them, you know, these coffee owners, you know, shifts them from making, you know, good coffee for the people, because also I want us to understand that the other side, true coffee drinkers are really very few. Yes, they're very few, to be honest with you. I mean, they prefer, you know, basically a well-decorated, you know, cup, and then I will take my picture and then, you know, post on my Snapchat, on Instagram. I think, but yes, there are also some coffee drinkers, you know, some really, really good coffee drinkers that, you know, they would walk to you and then he would give you, you know, an order, and you'd be like, okay, I think this guy knows coffee, and then, you know, I'll have to make him my best. So I think it's more of business, the other side, more than it is right here. Yes, here it is business, but I think most of the coffee owners, cafe owners here also care very much about the coffee that they want to serve to their clients. Also depending on the fact that, you know, we get our own coffee. I mean, it's not like the other side, because we do farm it here. We plant it ourselves, and then we, you know, we handle it ourselves, you know, and with care that it has, with the help of you know, coffee professionals, because I don't think, you know, cafe owners, you know, have the time to. Yes, some of them have, you know, that they go and then touch down to farms, and then, you know, get to tell, you know, the harvesters, this is the kind of coffee I need, which is not the other side, you know. So that is really different. That yes, much as it is a business here in Uganda, but also most cafes right here care much, yes, about the coffee that they serve. And if you agree with me, Uganda lately is improving, you know, as much as, you know, coffee consumption is concerned. It is really improving, and that's very good.
You know, like what you said, here I was thinking that, you know, we should pick a leaf from Kuwait and, you know, try and put these strategies here, but I think it's kind of reversed now. Kuwait should actually pick a leaf from us and do some of the things we're doing. Over to Amon, we're talking about now commercialization. Basically, I believe that the business of coffee in Kuwait is better than in Uganda because of certain strategies that they do. Okay, the coffee culture really, it's catching up in Uganda. Okay. And one side, yes, you have the passion, you know, to serve people good coffee, but on the other side, you have to stay afloat as a business, okay? So what are some of those strategies that you think, okay, as a barista working in a coffee shop, that the CEOs or the government, you know, at large should do to improve the commercial side of coffee, you know, to a point whereby a barista can say, you know what, I'm going to become a full-time barista. This is my job. This is the money I'm making from here. So what are some of those strategies that can really boost the commercialization of coffee in Uganda?
Well, I think with the rise or with the existence of COVID-19, it has hit almost every sector in this world. Let it be the small business enterprises, the big scale business enterprises, it has hit them, all of them. So I think the strategies that the business people have to take is, how best are we going to make sure that the coffee in Uganda stays in a good quality? Because being the second in Africa and the 8th around the world, I mean, that's a big thing. So how best can we work around with our coffee that we have now in stores, that we have in circulation around coffee shops, and also that is in the farm? How are we going to make sure that it's being promoted well? So that it gets the market that it wants? Because if it has the market, it means it's a good quality coffee. If it doesn't have the market, then it means that maybe something somewhere it's wrong. So I think the farmers, I mean, the farmers, the baristas, the coffee roasters, the coffee exporters, okay, the business, the people who are in the coffee business have to find out how are they going to maintain the good quality of coffee